All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, gamers of all ages, welcome to Sainte-Mère-Église. The date is the 6th of June, 1944, and we are behind Utah Beach in the hedgerows of the Norman coast. Overnight, the 82nd and 101st Airborne have misdropped all over this peninsula, and the Germans are busy trying to counterattack to keep the American invasion, and, well, the Allied invasion, I should say, from invading France. Sainte-Mère-Église was one of the original strategic objectives of the paradrop invasion, the paradrops overnight. The parachute you see here attached to the church steeple, that of paratrooper John Steele of the 501st Paratrooper Infantry Regiment. He actually got stuck up there in the dark, was unable to get down for several hours, feigned that he was dead to initially avoid German capture or to avoid them shooting at him, but he was eventually later captured by the Germans and then escaped from captivity and rejoined his regiment later on in the invasion. So, bit of a fun little story there. Today, Sainte-Mère-Église actually continues to have a wonderful airborne museum to the airborne troops that parachuted in and around the city. And so all over this map, you will find scattered, littered with silk parachutes, broken gliders, all kinds of things to indicate that, well, here we are. This is an active war zone. So let's get into this game here. Initial deployments. Let's talk about the caps for starters. A lot of action going to be happening here on the northern end of the map. We're looking at flak position for the Team Phoenix home cap. Route de Hara here in the second rank. The middle rank, we're going to see a lot of city fighting here over the Church of Sainte-Mère-Église itself. The Allied second tier cap there being Allied Battery, and the Allied home cap all the way back in the center at Crossroads.
Da kommt man nicht dran vorbei.
I didn't know these guys were going to be talking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and turn off the voice volume. There we go. We're going to turn that down completely. There we go. All right. Apologies for that, guys. A little bit of new learning there on my part. Now, Sainte-Mère-Église is a bit advantage to the Allies on this map. It's a little closer to their spawn-in point. You can already see artillery falling from both teams here into the capture area. An allied troop truck already right there. Oh man, look at that zeroed in Artie, nailing that troop truck right next to the church. Artillery rounds falling in this courtyard. It's very popular in pub matches to see garrisons built inside the church. One of the few structures in the game that I've yet encountered that you can actually build inside the church. You can build buildings, I should say, that you can build inside of. Two American tanks already on the backside of the church here. We've got a steward in the foreground. Let's see if I can pick him up for you. Right here off to my left. There he is at the end of the south, and on the top side of the square, on the right side of your screen, you'll find an American Sherman medium tank, 75mm main gun. Some early garrisons here going up along the D-line. Two main avenues attack, two big roads into town here on Sainte-Mère-Église. This one along the 5 line, and this one that then turns northeast up along the 6 line and dumps you in on the south side of the square. Hard to imagine the Germans being able to get in here very quickly without being able to dislodge these tanks. Where is the German armor? One must wonder. Let's have a quick peek on the map and see if we can pick it up. Got a Puma down here along the bottom edge of the map. Got a Panzer II here in this field to the north. He's right there in the dead center of your screen. A little hard to pick out, perhaps. Let me zoom in on him here. There he is. Well back from the fighting right now. The Panzer II is perhaps not the best tank in the game. A lot of us, and I've had this conversation with a variety of people over the games that I've played, feel like the Panzer II is severely disadvantaged compared to the American light tank, which is the Stuart. The Panzer II is really only good at killing infantry, whereas the Stuart is quite effective at killing not only infantry, but lighter vehicles, and can even kill heavier vehicles if it can maneuver in behind them. Very capable of killing opposing tanks from the right position. I need to turn. Speaking of stewards, look at, we've got a solo steward here guarding this road. Actually, he must not be steward. I'm just not seeing everybody. Showing me the driver probably, but not the crew. That makes sense. Okay, so that's a quirk of the interface. Middle cap's going to go early to the Allies here. Kind of not really unexpected. Again, Sainte-Mère-Église, the church itself is a bit advantaged towards the Allies. It's slightly on their side of the map zone, as you can see here, right? This line being dead center. It's a little closer to them, so it takes just that much longer for German troops to maneuver into position. Team Phoenix doing a great job of setting up a nice defensive network of garrisons back here along the BC and D lines. Some offensive garrisons here forward to the end of the D line, and then this backup garrison way down here in D8. You still have 2 more garrison slots to go. Plenty of time on the clock. One of the things about Hell Let Loose matches that I think a lot of folks, it takes time to appreciate is that, you know, logistics is everything. And creating spawn points, building places for your team to develop a presence, expand that area of influence, and then move off the map is a thing that it takes a lot of time, right? And so when, you know, these first opening minutes of a match, certainly of a competitive match, are really going to be built around, you know, developing a network of garrisons and spawn points that's going to allow you to control certain portions of the board. Allies doing a really good job now, pushing out of the northern end of, pushing across the main road to the north. Like, so we've got a squad starting to operate here, the northern end of the field. Going to start getting looks at Rue de Hurrah very soon. See if that Panzer Deuce is still back here in the field. He's not. He's moved on somewhere else. Wonder where he is. Let's have a quick peek at the map. Looks like they put him down. Yep. He did not survive somewhere. In fact, that's his corpse right there in front of me. He moved up here specifically to try to stop this push, but somebody snuck in here and got a shot at him when we weren't looking, and he is out. Battlefrog and Casper trying to kind of hold back this push to the garden hedgerows to their immediate west here on the northern side of the main road out towards what on the map would normally be western approaches. Sims Quran bagging 2 quick kills there, getting both Battlefrog. Wow. Wow, the Garand is such a strong weapon. Like, so good. Zim picking up another kill there, outdueling another German opponent holding a Guerre. But going down to Bossy, coming up from behind him. Was that a satchel? I think that was a satchel. Allies definitely continue to push and develop this presence across the main road now. We see CoRe pushing out on a lot of, you know, public games. This is the kind of things that you'd start to see maybe a red zone Gary somewhere back in these alleyways across the main road from the church. But CoRe owning this area now is going to make that basically impossible. A little squad-on-squad action here. Maul's taking down 2 quick CoRe guys, costing him his life there. His squad mates looking to avenge him, and they do. Godsend going down. We're also starting to see more of a presence to the south as well. Curious if this garrison, yep, the southern garrison down here in what was D6, right here at this crossroads, is now gone. So let's pull back a bit and see if the Allies have developed a presence down here. Not so much. A lone anti-tank guy working this field down here. Sometimes you see, and this is something that I actually am really curious to see in competitive play in this game, right? This barn right here to the southwest of the church is a great place to park and kind of conceal a half-track. And the use or not use of half-tracks is one of the things that I've actually been really curious about in competitive play, right? Because half-tracks have really changed how a lot of teams, certainly how I approach the game in public play and in just, you know, playing for fun of it on public matches. But I've often wondered how the competitive players have adapted to half-tracks, if they've even made an impact. Stewart now getting very aggressive, rolling out east of town here. Excuse me, west of town. A little bit of infantry in front of him to back him up. Is he going to turn right or left at this crossroads? He's going to turn left. Excuse me, that's not a Stuart. Is that a Firefly? No, that's a regular medium. Regular Sherman. Going to work out into the field south of the point here. Somewhat surrounded. He drove right by that garrison. There's a German garrison for Team Phoenix just the other side of that manor house to his north, but he didn't spot it. He's going to move up and take up a position out to this field to the south. Devo getting an AT rocket into his stern there, aft into the vehicle, but going down. Looks like he's probably going to move out here where he's got a little bit of cover and try to repair. Already got some allies operating also on the southern end of, well, again, what would be western approaches. You can see the actual capture point, Rue de Hurrah, there, another 400 meters north. Tank's going to stop right here on the edge of this field. Hop out and do some repairs, perhaps. Nope. Not interested. I'm actually somewhat curious that they're not going to repair this tank in the field. I mean, there's nobody really around it. Feels like Phoenix is really kind of struggling to find a foothold in the alley fighting here in the town. We can see that garrison there. Once again, a spawn wave coming off. Oh, they've found that garrison. Look at, did you see that artillery shell? Wow. Spawn right there. Yep, they know exactly where that garrison is. It is zeroed in on the opposing arty. Look at that. Yep. They're just waiting for another spawn wave to come in there. Garrisons are no longer destroyed by artillery, but I mean, if arty is landing there every 10 to 15 seconds, you can't effectively spawn on it. You'll be dead before you get 4 steps off of it. So that garrison essentially suppressed. That's going to leave Team Phoenix with only their most southern garrison down here in D8 for an offensive push, and they don't really have it. I'm surprised they haven't attempted to replace this garrison in D6 just yet, or even to build one up here in D3 or 4, like a blue line Gary right here in D3 or 4 could potentially serve both purposes. It would allow them to field forces on both the defense and the offense. They had a good little garrison network starting up early, but right now, as at least 1 or 2 of those garrisons have fallen to opposing recon and the CoRe advance, they haven't replaced them yet. CoRe outpost right here. We see it. Quick look at it. Really good outpost location right there in that little bush right here on the edge of their offensive push. 2 squads now operating on this side of things. Team Phoenix, again, they're trying to defend this garrison, I think, but with the garrison hemmed in by arty, it's almost impossible. You saw there, you may not have caught it, there was a spawn wave, and the artillery fell and just annihilated them all. I mean, look at the bodies. They're just this is a courtyard of death for Team Phoenix right now. It's interesting. It's noteworthy to me that CoRe has not taken down this garrison. They're just blanketing it with the artillery, suppressing it, effectively taking it out without having to expend any time to send a guy over there and actually get rid of it. These 2 squads from the south now pushing in. We see Zoom and Sturb there almost on top of that garrison. Spawn wave coming in. Some of those guys breaking immediately to the house. They are going to get 1 quick spawn wave off of that garrison. These guys all running through the house. Senseless coming in behind Blade. He's kind of a bit hung out now. We've got guys on the 2nd floor of this house trying to defend this garrison, but it's not an effective spawn point right now. Senseless picking up another kill on Mauls, going down to his own arty there as he tries to get on the garrison. CoRe now pushed well across the main north-south road here, west of Sainte-Mère-Église proper, the church there in the middle of town. Team Phoenix pushed back firmly on the defensive here along the D line. They have finally replaced this garrison down in D6. Let's go have a quick peek. Starting some offensive down there. Trying to push back up this road and make some inroads. If they can get some troops in behind these CoRe troops operating along the south end of the main east-west road there coming out of Sainte-Mère-Église proper, they have the opportunity to push north and maybe cut off this advance, but right now, it seems like they've only got one squad operating down here. Looks like, yep, Sierra squad and Q squad here. Trying to work up from the south. At garrison, oop, apologies, that's one of my, sorry for the there, gotta learn these things. See there, the garrison's actually not a bad position, but I feel like they've had one there earlier. I think it's probably gonna be pretty easy to pick up. Hawken defending that garrison. He's got two more CoRe guys in front of him. He goes down there to Tim, who himself goes down to Battle Frog. CoRe now looks like they may have finally removed this garrison in the courtyard of death up here along the main road they have. That garrison no longer tenable. They spent probably 3 or 4 minutes suppressing it with artillery and until they finally worked troops into position to just remove it off the board. Now they've got a firm foothold here in about D4 and 5, continuing the offensive push. So we've got probably one squad here, kind of detailed to kind of fight it out here at what would be western approaches, where this is the capture point selected when the map spawned in, but they're grossly outnumbered. Kaiser's MG kind of looking the wrong way. He's looking north across the fields there when he's got all of these guys coming out. And of course, he doesn't know that necessarily. Looks like he's trying to reposition there in that house and get a better look to the north. This little house and courtyard position is a great spot if the Allies can push up and kind of take it and hold it and defend it. That's a really strong area to maybe even put down a potential red zone garrison. At a minimum, putting a couple of outposts in there will give them some really good offensive pressure en route to Hurrah. Here comes that Allied tank we saw earlier. He must have run away to the bottom edge of the map for a while. He's getting back into things. Speaking of tanks, let's have a quick look over the situation. German Tiger now rolling out of the northern spawn. Allies still working on essentially what should be... I haven't seen another tank, but I haven't exactly been looking just yet. But we're about to have what could be our first serious real tank battle here coming up. I'm hearing the shots. I'm trying to make out where this... the Allies have got to have another tank in the field, and I am not finding it right now. They're bringing this medium tank around to the rear. I'm looking for the Tiger. There's the Tiger coming across the field. Coming across flak position now. Should have clean shots at this guy. Tiger there in the bottom left corner of your screen. He'll come across the hedgerow. The Axis commander right there in front of him. That's Soul Raver. Allied tank off to his left through the hedgerows. He might have a clean shot if he moves up here. That medium tank's doing a great job of staying in motion. They're turning the barrel. They're looking for the shot. Hard to take that shot on the move. Nothing doing. Medium tank drives in a complete circle of the point. Ends up here on the north side now. CoRe pushing very heavy, blanketing route to Hurrah with smoke. Phoenix seems to only still have maybe 2 squads on the defense here in this area. Medium tank driving right in there. Route starting to change. The garrison is still alive in there, but the infantry's about to be on top of it. Zim and Antro headed in there, probably trying to find it. They know it has to be in there. There's an AA pit down in that smoke. Let's see if we can get in here and find it. Can't see anything in here. Look at this. Imagine trying to fight in this. Zim looks like he's taking out that garrison right now. Raisin, the allied commander there on the point. Look at that. Look at that. The route to Hara, Gary, actually not there, or they built a replacement very quickly. It is red. You see it here on the backside. It's in here. Okay, I see. It's in here in this little gap. There it is right there. Pretty good spot for it, honestly. The allied commander is keeping that garrison locked right now by standing in the house, in the top of that barn, by standing right next to it. Even though he can't take it down, that garrison is completely locked. A defensive bombing run comes in now for Team Phoenix, trying to clean out these allied troops swarming all over Route de Hara. Takes out a few, but doesn't get the main push, which is now on the south side of this barn. The allied commander now... Nope, he's still there. They're still looking for this Gary. They haven't found it yet. Jay's looking right at it. Could be right around the corner. He must probably sees it by now. No, it's behind that barrel. They might not have spotted it. He's literally right next to it. They still haven't found it yet. Tra now spots it. CoRe taking down Phoenix's garrison here at Route de Hara. Just a relentless, just beautiful, beautiful push. Nice, steady, and slow from CoRe here to take out what could be match point. Now, we're getting close now, right? Because what happens is, if they can complete this cap... Where's the Tiger? Where did he end up, by the way? So much to keep track of. Is that a Stuart? Nope. Another medium tank still driving in circles, making a complete nuisance of himself. Looks like the Tiger went down somewhere. I missed it completely. There's an AT gun off to the north that's trying to take out these tanks. Not having much luck with it. Oh, they're trying to build an AT gun here. The struggle with AT guns, of course, is if the tank stays in motion and he's at short range, you're going to have an impossible time taking him out. That AT gun actually not constructed. Broody hiding in the bush, trying to avoid getting spotted. He's outpost. Seems to be right behind him. Tank takes it out as another tank shot. 3 allied tanks now operating on the northern end of the map here. I've got a Greyhound in the back. The lead tank there, a regular medium. And what have we got here? Is that our Firefly? There it is, the big 76. All pushing the northern flank. Team Phoenix now looking at their last count point. They've got a solid network of defensive garrisons. They're going to have to work really... They're going to have their work cut out for them trying to break back into Route to Hara. The medium tank in the lead finally does go down here along the top border of the map. 2 different AT guns started but not constructed here for Team Phoenix. The CoRe artillery has been absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal. Look at that artillery. They either identified or suspected there was a garrison there, right? And they're just hammering it. Just crazy. Now, Flak Pits is arguably the most difficult position for the Allies to attack here on the back end of Sainte-Mère-Église. Right? But the barbed wire, there's limited ways in. It will be a bit of a challenge for CoRe to break in here for the clean sweep. And so Team Phoenix has a good opportunity. They've rolled a decent point here with flak position. They've got a good opportunity to get organized, get back on the offense, and push up this road and take back Route de Hara, right? Plenty of time left on the clock still. Over an hour, technically. But this tank assault, these CoRe tanks in the top end of the map, absolutely punishing. See the little Greyhound running around in the backfield there in top center of your screen. At screen left, that's a 76, a Sherman. Germans have both a regular Panzer IV in the field. He's up here at this crossroads top right of your screen on the offensive. And they have a Panzer Deuce kind of trying to play defense back here along the main road, along this road here that leads into one of their main spawn areas. HQs, I should say. The Firefly now almost due north of Flak Pits. Luck Gummy working alongside that tank, using it as cover. Going to run up to the end of this hedgerow here, drop an OP for his squad. Brilliant. What great positioning. Seeing infantry and tanks coordinate in competitive play like this is a thing of beauty. It's the sort of thing that you just kind of wish you saw in regular pub play half the time, right? It's going to be very difficult for the for the Axis for Team Phoenix to work this 76 out of position. They're putting up trying to put down at least one AT gun up there on the hill at Flak Pits. But it's likely going to be a while before they have the fuel for another Tiger. Yep. You need 600 fuel for a Tiger. It's going to be at least, what, 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes? It's going to be a long 3.5 minutes. Luck Gummy coming back in on his OP. He's Garan taking down Bathtub Diver there. Another squad playing a little farther back along that hedgerow, including the Axis Commander. You see Soul Raver back there. Luck Gummy taking a peek into the northern end of the point. Team Phoenix still trying to get an offensive organized. As another American medium tank moves up to the front lines. Or is that... Oh my goodness, it's another heavy. Oh my goodness, it's another heavy. 2 American heavy tanks on the field now. It feels like Team Phoenix doesn't really have a good answer for these tanks at the moment. I mean, obviously, with their Tiger off the field, removing heavy tanks is very, very challenging. Now, this guy did take at least one decent shot, probably from AT. Smoking and burning a little bit. He's about to get up here and join his buddy. As there's now at least one good squad operating north of Flak position here in the back rank of Team Phoenix. Yep. Nero and GR hopping out there to repair their tank from behind the hedgerow. So 2 American heavies now operating north of Flak Pits. The German heavy still at least 60 seconds away, if not longer. The coming tank engagement, I think, is going to be really critical, right? CoRe has worked into a position. They've got a very strong foothold on the northern side of Flak position. Team Phoenix is still really struggling to get anything going offensively. All of these garrisons are still up, so Team Phoenix has plenty of places to spawn on the defense, but they haven't really had any good offensive options in a while. Panzer Deuce here in the fields to the south of Flak, kind of trying to slow down this infantry envelopment. You see CoRe pushing troops up from the south and the north. Southern foothold a little farther off, a little more tenuous, I'd say, because it's got at least the one German HQ spawn on its left flank there. At the right side of your screen, that is one of the German headquarters. So as these Allied troops try to move north across these cornfields, they're going to have Axis troops potentially coming into their left flank as they try to move up. CoRe now blanketing the northern fields, that big northern push with smoke. They're starting to cap Flak Pits now. You can see why they were the second place team last season's seasonal. Looks like we finally got one good AT gun up down here. That's a huge win for Team Phoenix. They got one of the heavies off the board. One of the American heavy tanks going down here north of the point. The other one's still alive, though. Back there in that smoke, you can just make out his barrel there as friendly artillery smoke covering him up. That's a huge, huge win for Team Phoenix. They needed that kill. See their Soul Raver telling his team the Tiger is up. That Tiger could be a deal breaker here. There it is, the spawn. Shirk going to go man this tank. Hop in, Get that thing moving. They know there's another American heavy tank on their northern flank that they've got to deal with if they want to stay in this game. Rest of his crew spawning in. I'll be really curious to see how they position this Tiger to make this work. The anti-tank gun in that northern hedgerow gives them the option of more barrels looking in that American heavy than they might otherwise have had. So the Tiger now has some options. He can move up here to the north and try to take the thing head on. The American will know he's coming, right? The 76 will know he's coming just because of all this infantry out in front of him. Or he could potentially move down the road and use these hedgerows here to peek north looking for a cross shot somewhere, while the heavy has to keep his front glacis plate towards the anti-tank gun, but the anti-tank gun is now no more. That was the explosion you just saw. Firm foothold here on the northern side. Luck Gummy's OP still doing great work. And now with this AT gun out of the picture, it's going to be very interesting to see how this Tiger decides to approach this surviving American heavy in the field. Not sure what that was. Is that a satchel? No, another AT gun. They had another AT gun built in the hedgerows there. Another AT gun on the hill. Looking for shots. Not getting much. They have two AT guns built up here now. One looking north. One looking east. This anti-tank gun not manned at the moment. Took either a shell or a rocket a moment ago. Two full squads of CoRe now operating along that northern hedgerow. As flak pits is starting to fall, here comes CoRe across the main eastern axis of advance. Sorry, western advance. All over flak pits now. That forward Gary in D4 is now gone. Phoenix now having to work off their Garys in the backfield here. They're going to have to cross these open fields up to the hill under fire to try and defend their own cap circle. Tiger now able to support a defensive bombing run coming in south to north. That is well timed. They really needed that. That does stop the cap progress. And an emergency airhead, it looks like. Is that what is that? That is an airhead. I can't tell if that's an American airhead or a German airhead. Doesn't show up on my map. That must be an American airhead. That is bold. That is very bold. Tiger takes it right out. No dice there. Bombing run buys them some time. That northern foothold, CoRe is exploiting it mercilessly, using these hedgerows to get right up near the point. This northern hedgerow you see here gets almost into the cap circle. Brutal fighting in the trenches here across the cap and flak pits. Phoenix is defending. They are, at the moment, reversing the progress CoRe has made in capturing this point. But both of their backwards, both of the garrisons behind the point are red. They have nowhere to spawn. Oh, okay, those are cleared now. Soviet right here blocking one garrison, probably not even really knowing he's doing it. The other garrison down south now clear. Team Phoenix with their backs against the wall here in their final cap point, trying to stave off defeat. Team Phoenix looking like maybe they're kind of out of tricks. They've used their bombing run. There goes the Tiger. Tiger going down. That's a huge loss for these guys. They needed that defensive presence, and they don't have it anymore. That's going to allow the American 76 to move up if he wants and operate a little more freely. Doesn't look like he's interested, still playing defensively. They brought a Stuart forward, though. This Stuart with the machine gun and the main barrel will be able to sweep this field to the west of the flak pits clean of German troops trying to get in there and counteract the push. brilliant work using these hedgerows. Watching CoRe use these hedgerows to maneuver tanks around is just a thing of beauty, right? When you drive tanks on the French, the Norman maps, right? The hedgerows and everything are just an absolute nightmare. Phoenix was defending a little bit, but now progress reversing. CoRe with a strong cap circle presence here, lobbing their smoke grenades. Is now there's the aggressive push from the American 76. There's the aggressive push. American heavy tank now sitting firmly inside the last capture circle. 2 full squads of CoRe in this cap point. I don't think Phoenix has a good way back in. They still have garrisons they can spawn on, but their options are limited at best. They have the Gary to the northwest of the point is alternating, fluctuating. Hard for them to come in over there. The one to the southwest, much more regular. But it looks like we're looking at a 5-0 CoRe victory here in Sainte-Mère-Église, round 1 of the main stage of the HLL Spring Seasonal. And there it was. Well played to both teams, but CoRe going away with their win here. Looking really solid. Understandable after watching that game to see how they were the second place team previously.